Shout out to Blackie Speaks. And I just recently subscribed to this young man's channel. You should as well. He uploaded this video 3 days ago titled Sexyy Red is Getting Replicated. Now, I'm targeting this video to black women. What are y'all going to do about this? How are you going to respond to this? Because this is just the beginning. Sexyy Red is just a continuation of other raunchy artists before her, but she is probably the raunchiest, the lowest class.
Rapper I covered a few months ago in my video, The Dysfunction of Sexyy Red. In that video, we explored who she was, why she became so controversial, and the message her brand represents. Fast forward to now, and Sexyy Red isn't being talked about nearly as much as she was just a few months ago. Her hype has undeniably died down, and it's wild to see how quickly things can shift for an artist whose name is built primarily on a gimmick. Sexyy Red is a rapper who blew up largely because of her unapologetically, unfiltered, raunchy, and sexually provocative music. That rawness played a huge role in why she caught the public's attention. But as her influence begins to wane, there's something bigger at play. Sexyy Red's brand has sparked a trend, one where the industry seems to be replicating her persona and turning it into a caricature of the black woman in hip-hop. Some of the controversy Sexyy Red has been involved in, which we've discussed, like her pulling up to a school where she was banned because she allegedly smelled like weed, and beefing with a teacher by publicly calling her out, are just a few of the stories that have kept her name in the headlines. Despite the backlash,
these teachers are complete trash-minded people. To invite artists like Sexyy Red to a school, a high school, or whatever. I think this is an elementary or middle school or something. But remember, in Chicago, their high school invited FBG Duck to perform Slide. Go check out the lyrics on Slide. Y'all peep that. The most degenerate artists get invited to grassroots organizations like schools, high schools, where everybody, all the youth in the community is there. So once they have our youth all concentrated in a building like a school, they send their degenerate puppet rappers out. Now, FBG Duck wasn't really a puppet. He wasn't a puppet. He wasn't a product of a, but he essentially was. He co-signed with all of the rhetoric that's pushed by the machine.
It's clear that Red's wave has been impactful enough to spark.
You see that part right there? You see how they also included her being disrespectful and dominant, and notice how she's standing taller than the man, standing above the man, projecting that she is the superior gender. More of that gender role reversal nonsense. She's the aggressive one.
Has been impactful enough to spark real conversations about her influence in the music industry. It's no secret that Sexyy Red is backed up by major corporations and has significant funding behind her brand. Given that level of support, I think we'll see at least one more major push to elevate her career in the coming year. I think the level of return the corporations see on their investment in her will ultimately determine how much we hear her name in the coming years. For now, things have been relatively quiet on her end. A few weeks ago, I came across a clip on social media featuring a female rapper whose name I actually don't know. The clip went viral on X, formerly known as Twitter, and let's just say that the rapper's entire persona felt like a carbon copy of Sexyy Red. It's clear that the industry is doubling down on its formula. It's almost as if they're trying to recreate the same type of buzz Sexyy Red had, but with a fresh face to keep the cycle going. Like I mentioned earlier, Sexyy Red has undeniably made an impact in the music industry, so much that it seems like she's already being replicated. And as for this female rapper, like I said, I have no clue who she is, and honestly, I don't care to know. But there are a few things I noticed right away. First of all, the branding. Sexyy Red, as we all know, is a black woman who's heavily tattooed. She's a hood chick, she's raunchy, and has an unapologetic persona. Part of the reason why Sexyy Red's virality works so well is that she fully owns who she is. There's no holding back. To go viral these days, you do need thick skin, and I feel like Sexyy Red has that on lock. She's put herself in countless situations where she's opening herself up to criticism, and yet she keeps pushing forward. And let's be real, success, especially on social media, brings a lot of hate. That's something we all know. Just look at that girl who cooks on TikTok. I had no idea who she was until I saw a bunch of women hating on her. It's like the more successful you are, the more you become a target. especially if your brand stands out as much as Sexyy Red's does. Another thing about this particular clip is, of course, the extremely raunchy lyrics. For starters, if you look at the screen, she's wearing a shirt that boldly says, "I love dick."
And notice she's in an ice cream truck. So in other words, it's for the kids. It's targeted to kids. And also understand, young kids look up to teenagers for the most part. They don't look up to the 30, 40-year-olds. So they know the age range of the artist to get.
As for the lyrics, let's just say that they're very explicit, and I'm not even going to repeat them by myself. Instead, I'll let the clip speak for itself.
Do that hang low. If it do, I want some more. Can you put it in my guts? Can I put it in my nose? Can I see it while you me from the back? I want to know. Do your hang low?
Aside from the extremely vulgar lyrics, if you'd have noticed, the song structure is actually based on nursery rhymes. This is a common strategy used to market certain artists to the masses. Those familiar melodies taps into the subconscious mind, especially kids, making the song memorable and easy to repeat. This ties directly into the conversation because if you remember, there was that story about the teacher I mentioned, and she spoke about how the young girls in her class were singing Sexyy Red songs.
What'd that tell you? I mean, they mamas is listening to it at home.
Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Sexyy. I don't want to see little 5-year-olds trying to twerk to Pound Town.
That's enough. To the collective of black females, I don't believe you have the self-discipline to protect your daughters from destructive images and influences like this. We'll see if y'all can prove me wrong.